a little bit of gratitude for the time in your day right now to care for yourself. So, as you come to a comfortable seat and close your eyes, first, let's just pay attention to our breath. So, as you start to notice what your natural breath rhythm is, it's very difficult to pay attention and notice a natural breath, but just see what it feels like to try to get a glimpse of what your breathing is naturally doing right now. Feel a sense of, uh, you might want to call it manipulation, but just a sense of directing the breath a little bit more fully, where we give ourselves the opportunity, the space to breathe well. So open up your chest, your diaphragm, your rib cage. Get into the good alignment of your spine that best serves your breathing. Notice what the mind feels like on your inhales. Notice what the mind shift feels like on your exhales. So as you're starting to pay attention and noticing what's arising for you and within you, let's bring our palms together and see if an intention can arise. What can be cultivated in your practice that's going to help bring you into balance and harmony, to kind of bolster where you need some bolstering, and set a tone for your mind for the day. Let's release your hands. Let's start our practice with a little bit more emphasis on some breath. So we're going to do some alternate nostril breathing. So adjust, if you need anything to make you feel comfortable in your body, make a change. And we're going to take the right hand on your nose. All right. So thumb on your right nostril and ring finger on your left, high up on your nostril bed. So we're not right at the tip of our nose, but where our nostrils begin. Once you have softness in your placement there, take a moment to just realign your body. So feel the spine, notice if you're turning or if you're dropping one side or lifting one side, see if you can find that balance. And once your body's in a happy place, we'll start with some alternate nostril breathing. So closing off the right nostril so you can breathe in through the left. And then once the inhale is full, you can close off the left nostril and breathe out through the right. So the pattern always goes breathe out and breathe in through the same side, and then switch over to the other side and have an exhale and an inhale and switch. Try to slow yourself down so your pacing is steady. So there's no rush. Whenever we rush, there's a cue to our nervous system that we have to ramp up. That it's the fight or flight kicks in ever so slightly, or maybe a lot, whenever we feel we are rushing. So don't rush the breath. Just let it take whatever time it takes. You don't have to make it go really long. Just have the natural rhythm of what the inhale and the exhale want to be in this moment. And keep maintaining that sense of integrity in your body, a sense of softness through your face. You can bow your head just a little bit if that feels better to your relaxation, your ease. You might notice that one nostril is much more difficult to breathe in and out of than the other. This is normal to have a difference between the two. Just like our we shift dominance from the left hemisphere to the right hemisphere of our brain at different points during our day. That will impact how open our nasal passages feel on one side or the other. It's just paying attention as you go. Nice and slow. There's no rush. When you feel ready to be done, complete a whole cycle. So you want to let the exhale come out of your left nostril to finish. So keep going. Don't rush until you get to that place. And then once you're there, keep your eyes closed and just enjoy the balance, the sense. It's kind of like when you do a standing balance pose on one side and then you put 2 feet down and there's this of ease. So see if you can feel that as you finish this as well, that there's so much space to breathe in, so much space to breathe out when you're using both sides of your nose. Can you feel this sense of balance through your brain right now? What just shifted in your mind? Right. Open your eyes if they're not already there, and let's find our way onto our back on our mat. So as you stretch out and lengthen, there's a lot of joy that can come from simply just coming onto your yoga mat. So just notice what's available here today, what your body feels like, what your needs are. And if there's some place in your body that you're protecting or working closely with, pay attention and just be so curious about what's available in this moment. Having that sweet balance of letting yourself touch edges, but never moving beyond boundaries that should be held. And that could be a strength boundary, that could be a stretching boundary, that could be, just any sense of safety zone. All right, so if it's comfy, stretch your arms overhead and let's just enjoy opening one side of the body and then opening the other. And just enjoying this side body length. Maybe moving your hips offline a little bit from each other so one hikes up and the other drops. Letting this travel into your low back a little bit. Bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a little hug. Rocking a little bit, swaying. Maybe hanging on to your knees. And let's circle here a little bit. So rolling in one direction, rolling in another direction, and full of times. Taking your time. Try to commit to not rushing in your practice. Let's open up our knees away from the middle. What would it feel like if you just made a commitment to not rushing the whole day? Not rushing cooking your dinner, not rushing getting to where you're going in your car, not rushing taking a shower, not rushing with an email you need to send, just not rushing. All right, so draw your knee into your chest and let's go ahead and roll around in your ankles and wiggle your toes and feel the freedom that lives in your feet. Good squeeze through your knee. And then release that leg down and switch sides. Left knee in. Go ahead and roll around in your feet, wiggling your toes, getting some mobility here. Resting your head, feeling at ease. Release and stretch your limbs out. starring your body out on the ground, feeling that full body length, wiggle into your fingers and your toes so you can stretch out there in space. And then draw your knees into your chest and give yourself a nice hug. You can maybe pick up your head if you'd like, and then put your feet down onto the ground. Spread your arms out to the sides, and let's windshield wiper our knees left and right. Breathing deeply. We're going to go a little deeper into the twisting here. So move your hips over to the right, drop them to the left, and just open up across your thoracic spine, your chest. Feel free to have some mobility if you want in your shoulder. You can slide your arm like a half arc on the ground, turning your head back and forth as you do this, just opening up across your shoulder if you'd like. And then back to center. Let's shift the hips over to the other side, dropping your knees down, open up across your chest. Pay attention, is it easier or a little more challenging to twist in this direction? Do you notice a difference between the two sides, or is it feeling very symmetrical? Full breaths here. And then as you're ready, let's start to move through your shoulder. We can open up across the rim of the pec if you want, feeling the head of the humerus bone open. And you can also just be still. You don't have to do this movement pattern if you don't want to. And just feeling your joints open up. And stretch out to a star one more time, feeling that reach in the body. And then when you're ready, drawing your knees into your chest and rolling over onto your side to come up onto all fours. Okay. All right, so as you come onto your hands and your knees, let's start to move through some cat-cow. So we're arching through our spine and we're rounding. Taking our time to feel into the movement of our vertebrae. Again, moving slow, trying not to rush. See if you can just sense into paying attention to how your body's feeling. We're tending to our bodies, tending to our minds. And then feel free to move in any way that serves. You can wag your tail or circle through your hips or move through your shoulders. See what feels good. Try to remember all the parts of your spine. And then dropping down towards child's pose when you feel ready, so the arms can stretch out long. Feel the openness across your shoulders. Drop some deep weight into your hips. Let's walk the hands over to one side or the other. It doesn't matter which way you start. Feel the grounding through your pelvis and the ease in your skull. Open up the breath to travel down the side length of your body. Back to center and feel yourself opening up, coming the other direction. Feeling some weight drop down into your hips. Your head is nice and heavy. Breathing deeply. Ribs expansive. Drop your shoulders. Let's go ahead and open back up onto all fours. Right, so feel your spine move around again and find our twist. Reaching that arm up in the air and drop the shoulder down. Now, once you're here, see what it feels like to draw your femur bones back, to rest your head, to take your time to breathe deeply. Inhale, lift that arm back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground, switching sides. I'm lifting high. Drop that arm underneath, gazing toward the ground. Breathing well. The full inhale, complete full exhale. When you feel ready, lifting that arm all the way back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground. Again, finding your way to all fours. We're gonna work a little bit to strengthen the posterior chain of our body, the back of our body. So as we come onto all fours, let's start by just bringing our right leg straight out in the air. Engage through your core to hold yourself steady. And then let's pulse just a couple times so you feel that sense of integration. Your hips, your core, your back muscles, your glutes, your hamstrings, everything's finding its way. And then release that knee down onto the ground and we'll switch sides. And you can always take fists onto the ground instead of hands if you need. You can always take forearms on blocks. Left legs up in the air. Engage your core. Stabilize your center body. Let's go ahead and pulse a few times. Push the ground away with your hands as well. Integrate your ribs. How's your breath? All right, then stretch back towards child's pose. Feel your glutes open up a little bit. Stretch through your spine. And we'll come back up onto all fours. And we're going to add some arms to this. So the right leg stretches out behind you, left arm out in front of you. Integrate into the center body. Press your shin into the ground. Feel your ribs hug in as well. Deep breath in. And as you exhale, elbow and knee coming underneath. Inhale, bringing it out. Exhale. Drawing it in. Move slow. Let your breath take you for the journey. Try to encourage patience. Place that hand and knee down onto the ground. Come back onto your feet. Give your wrists a little shake if they need it. And remember, you can always change the position of your hands anytime you need. All right, so now we're going to take our left leg. Find that stability. When you're ready, the right arm comes out as well. Integrate, floating ribs in, hug to the midline. See if you can seek the center body well. Deep breath in. As you exhale, elbow and knee coming underneath. Inhale, bringing it out. Exhale, drawing in. One more time, feeling that extension. Feeling that condensement. Okay, put your hand, knee back down onto the ground. Stretch back towards child's pose. Take a moment to just roll out your wrists if they're uncomfortable from being on the ground. And spread out your hands and lift yourself into a dog pose. So as we lengthen up, notice what's here. Let's open up the back chain of the body a little bit more. So pedaling your feet, dropping one heel down if it feels good. Feeling the heart lift toward the pelvis, the extension that lives here. All right, so enjoy the openness in your body. Take your time to be in this pose. So instead of having those quick pulses of stretching where we kind of feel a sensation and then quickly step out of it, let's stay. Drop your weight into your hands well. Roll into your index finger mounds a little bit more. Feeling the heart lift, feeling the ribs integrate. Feel the femur bones, not just the sit bones lift up, but feel the femur bones lift up and back. How's the fullness of your breath? And when you feel ready, coming forward, Uttanasana, folding deeply. Letting your knees bend as much as you need. Shimmy through your hips if you'd like. Inhale for a halfway lift. Getting a little longer in your spine. And exhale. And melting back again. Inhale to rise all the way up. You can press up, push up, whatever way is comfortable for your back. And as you lengthen upward, let's just stretch open the front body a little bit. Lean back, feel that extension, and then cactus. Open the arms and feel that big open space. Take the hands behind the head a little teeny bit of a pressure of the head into the hands and open up your elbows nice and wide. Spread across your heart. Take your feet a little bit wider, and we're going to tip one elbow up toward the sky, back to center, and then tip the other elbow up toward the sky. Elbows wide, chest broad. Inhale, coming back up, reaching the arms up again. Let's cactus here. Feel the back body, give a good squeeze. Sense all those muscles in the backs of your shoulders. And then exhale and round in, arms to touch. Reaching up and reach your hands, interlace your fingers and your thumbs, index fingers pointing straight up. Look up toward your hands, so you're tipping your head back a little bit. Stretch your ribs off your hips, extend, and find a little bit of a back bend here. And then exhale and release that and fold forward. Relaxing down, feeling your spine open up. Inhale for a halfway lift, growing longer in the spine. Spread out the bones of your feet, extend. Exhale and melt to fold one more time. Step your left foot back, right foot's in front. Finding a lunge here, opening up across your chest. Let's move as we breathe. Remember, no rushing. See what it feels like to just be patient. You know, patience is something I don't think is very inherent in most people, right? We have to cultivate it. We have to train and discipline our minds to stay in patience. And one of the greatest ways we can do that in our yoga practice is let the slow breath be the guider of our movements. Wait for the breath before turning to a different movement pattern. Ground yourself, staying in your lunge. Inhale, reaching on up, bring the arms to the sky. Feel that extension, that openness, and let's cactus the arms here again and feel into the strength of the back body. Integrate the floating ribs. Engage your glute on that back leg. Press your front heel down into the ground. And then reach the arms back up in the air. Maybe look up, maybe lean back a little bit, see what feels good. And then exhale and bring your hands down, back foot comes forward, fold. The halfway lift, getting longer, melt and relax down again. Step the other foot back, we're coming into a lunge on this side. Heart stays open and broad. Drop the shoulders down away from the ears, feel the grounding in your feet. Spread out the bones of your feet well. Okay, let's start to move as we can, slowly bending and straightening the front knee. Finding your breath pattern. Letting your breath guide your movements. Start moving nice and slowly. Come into your lunge and find it again. Ground down. Press your front heel down so you already feel your glutes helping you. When you're ready to rise up, bringing the arms wherever is comfy, but if they come up, you can extend the ribs up to the hands. And let's engage fully through that back leg. So straighten and feel your glutes turn on. Press your front heel down onto the ground. So both sides, glutes are working well. Feel the lift of the heart, maybe a little bit of a leaning back if it feels stable and good for your body. And exhale and release your hands down onto the ground. Come to dog pose, feeling that extension and open up. Notice if your body's starting to feel more supple. Come forward into a plank. Hold yourself steady here. Shoulders away from the ears, finding that integration in the center of your body. Breathing deeply and well. Okay, let's find the ground. So come all the way down. Protect your shoulders as you go. Open things up there. Take a moment to feel your shoulders release. And then inhale to a cobra pose. Big open heart. Exhale and melt back down. Let's take the arms out in front of us. That cross hemisphere work, just like bird dog, we'll do it on our bellies. Lift your right leg and your left arm and feel the back of your body lengthen and strengthen. Exhale and coming back down, switching sides. Other leg, other arm. So left leg and right arm lifting up. Engage your core. So support from the front as well. Back of the neck is long. Exhale and come down. Now you can do this next pattern movement with your arms down at your sides instead of overhead if that's better for your body. We're going to lift everything up and move kind of more rapidly, like you're just left, right, and try not to think too much. Let the pattern in your body live. Neck is long. All right. And then now put your hands underneath your head. Pick up your feet and just rinse your wiper a little bit, left and right. Put your legs down onto the ground. Let's take them a little bit wider so you feel the big toes touch the edges of your mat. Keep your head down on your hands, nice and low, and we're going to lift our legs up. First round, we'll just point our toes toward the sky, toward the ground. Feel the outer hips kick in. Stabilize your pelvis. Engage your glutes. And then exhale and release. Turn your feet out. So you want your inner kneecaps to be resting on the ground now. Head stays down, inhale, lift. Slightly different action with our external rotation. Stabilize your core to protect your lumbar spine. Exhale and release. Pick up your feet and windshield wiper your knees one more time. Okay, come up onto all fours. Feeling that movement through your body, wag your tail, roll around if it feels nice to do so. Breathing deeply and back toward a child's pose. So you open up the back side of your body. Lift to a dog pose when you feel ready. A long spine here, grounding through your hands and your feet. Feeling that full extension, femur bones up and back. Heels down, sit bones high. And then walk your feet forward and come to Uttanasana. Come all the way up to stand, reaching the arms. And trace down through the center line. We're going to do a couple of moving squats, and then we'll come into holding a squat. So be very mindful, if your knees are a little wonky and the squats don't feel good for you, you don't have to go very far to have this. One of the things that squats are so good at helping us, if we get used to, going down and going up, then when we're 100 and we're sitting in the chair and we come to get up, we can do it still. So train your body now for your 100-year-old self to have all that independence of living. So our feet are as wide as you're comfortable. You can turn your toes out or straight, whatever feels good for your knees. Okay, so you want your knees and your feet to line up. And as we come down into a squat, femur bones drawing way back, and then come up to stand. Now you can do this super slow-mo. You can do this a little bit more rapidly, but what I'd like for you to do is do it with your breath. So however your breath needs to be right now, let your body follow. Maybe you want to exhale as you come down. Maybe you want to inhale as you come up. Just see what feels natural for your breathing pattern. If you tend to do this where you're like one knee is unhappy and you lean into one side and kind of find your way over there, see what you can do as you just go back and forth with the squats where you're paying attention to a joint that may not be as strong and giving it the chance to be the leader. Okay, so often when we have discrepancies of patterns in our body, the leader likes to be the leader and the follower likes to be the follower. Let the follower become the leader. How's your breath? And draw your femur bones way back. So we're sticking our butt out. We're not tucking our tail under. We're drawing back. So, when you come into the squat, you should be down with your butt back, not tucked under like this. Okay, so you want down and back. Hopefully you're starting to find a little fire in your legs. All right, and then we'll come up, stay for a moment, and just enjoy a bit of a rest, because the next time we go down, we're gonna stay down there for a moment. So give your thighs a moment, take a deep breath in, and as we come into our squats, you're gonna stay. So have your elbows not touching your legs for the time being. Adjust your feet, femur bones back. Now pulse just a few times while you're down here. Press the four corners of your feet deeply into the ground. Stillness now. Ground into the earth. And then slow-mo, like you're lifting a heavy, heavy weight. Press up to straighten. Now, if you're dizzy at all, take a break. Let your equilibrium come back. And the next time we come, we're gonna do one more. And when we come down here, we'll do some different arm movements. So as you find your squat, elbows inside your knees, open up through your chest, shoulders away from your ears. Just feel that steadiness. And then we'll take our arms back, palms facing down, heads of the arm bones lifting, ribs lifting in, femur bones drawing way back. See how that feels? Maybe you want arms out to the sides and see how that feels. Shoulder blades firm on the back. Integrate your ribs. Root the four corners of your feet. And then lastly, arms overhead. Femur bones way back. Stretch your ribs. Integrate your ribs. Keep your neck nice and at ease. Find your breathing. And then we'll slowly stand all the way up. Bring your feet closer together. Fold forward. Relax in Uttanasana. Inhale for a halfway lift. Melt and fold back down. Step back to dog pose. Hands on your mat, feet back there. Find your breath. Melt your head, feel the inversion. And let's come forward into a plank. And while you're here, lift your right leg up. Integrate, press two hands down onto the ground. Put that foot onto the ground, change sides. Finding your breath. Put that foot down onto the ground, find the earth. Coming down onto the ground. All right, stretch your arms out in front of you like we did before, but this time, instead of taking a wide arm pose like we sometimes do, have your palms down in line with your shoulders and lengthen up through your spine. So a little bit of a back bend, stretch your feet away. Find your breath. Exhale and come back down. So a little bit of strength building in the back of your body now. We're going to take our arms either straight out like a cactus, and if this doesn't feel good in your shoulders, you can bring your elbows a little closer toward your hips, so you're more like forming the letter W than goalposts. Okay, so your choice of how you want to be. We're going to inhale to lift up, upper body up off the ground, and then exhale to lower. Let's find that patience again. Inhale to come up, and then exhale to lower. If you're in the cactus arms, notice what's working. And now if you had whichever, if you were able to do cactus arms, we're all gonna take the W now. If you just automatically chose the W, maybe try a cactus and just see the difference. But if your shoulder needs the W, take the W. Before you lift up, integrate. So we don't want to squeeze our butt cheeks together, so tight that we just lock our pelvis up. But you do want to feel your glutes and your pelvic floor in this pose. So as we lift up, see what's there. Open up your chest, feel the whole back line. And then exhale and come back down. Twice more. Inhale to lift up. Hands, elbows, everything's off the ground. Neck is long. exhale, and release. Last one, as we lift up, notice the full chain of the back. See if you can feel all your back muscles turn on. Find where it's weak or absent and light the light bulbs. Exhale and relax. Come up onto your hands and your knees and wag your tail, move your spine. When you feel ready, once you've released a little bit, come down to child's pose. Keep your neck long. Let the back body open here. Breathing deep. Lift up into a dog pose. Feel that extension and length. Find your breath. And let's walk our feet forward. We have 2 blocks, so if you don't have them close by, grab them. All right, so we're coming into a half lift. Lengthen through your spine. Hands on blocks. Be mindful if they're up high like mine are so that you're not too wobbly. We're going to come onto our right foot and lift your left leg straight back behind you. Extend through your body. Press your foot into the ground as you lift that right hip up. Deep breath here. And then some Jiva squats. So we'll bring our left knee down next to or behind the right knee. Drop your head if you'd like. Inhale to push your legs straight and your heart goes forward. Twice more. So do 3 total. Nice and slow. Be patient. See if you can feel like you're moving in slow motion. We're moving with the breath. I like to exhale as I drop and inhale as I lift, but maybe you're different. Put that foot down onto the ground. Switching sides. Half splits on our left leg. Square the pelvis, lift your left hip, drop the right. The right inner thigh lifts up toward the sky. Both feet are pressing. Feel that extension in your spine. Keep your neck nice and neutral, so look down. When you're ready, start into your squats again. So we're dropping into that bent left knee. Bow your head. Your right knee can go next to or behind your left. Slow it down. In nice slow inhales to lengthen and straighten. Nice long exhales to drop in. And if your breath pattern's different than that, that's okay too. Okay, one more time. How's your breath? Steady pacing in your breathing. And then put 2 feet down onto the ground. Come all the way up to stand. Let's take our right foot in front and our left foot behind. Round your back heel for Virabhadrasana 1. Now your Vira 1 might look like this, where your arms are down at your sides and you're kind of leaning forward. Your Vira 1 might be more upward. So just see what your body wants. Come into your lunge, round through your back heel well. If you are reaching your arms up, be very mindful that you're not just pushing your rib cage forward. We're integrating. So feel your core, your navel reach down into your back foot. Feel your front heel reach up into your arms. So just make connections in your body. Keep your neck nice and loose. And release. Walk the back foot forward. Pause here for a moment. When you feel ready, we'll do the same pose on the second side. So Virabhadrasana 1, grounding through our feet. Maybe your back needs you to lean forward a little bit and keep your arms back. You can get a lot of back body work by keeping your arms back. So you do you. If your arms are reaching into the traditional variation, notice the low back. Try not to sink and compress. Rise out of the spine. Root into your feet. Rise out of the legs. Maybe your head tips back, but keep your neck as soft and neutral as you can. The feet are the anchor points for this pose, so root them down. Full breaths. Exhale. Release your hands. Come down either to a dog pose and then to child's pose, or just come to child's pose. So however you want to get there, breathing well. We're gonna come around onto our back. And so as you lie down, we'll do a couple of rounds of some bridge, and then we're gonna find the restorative bridge. But first, let's do some active bridges. So first, put a block between your thighs. It can be closer to your knees or closer to your pelvis, whatever feels right to your body. And at whatever width feels right to your body. Round the four corners of your feet. Now, again, before we lift anything, notice if you're impatient. If you're like, oh, lifting up, let me lift up. See if you can just gather your ground first. Find your breath. And when you feel ready and we lift up, rock onto the tops of your shoulders. And notice if the hugging of the block pushes the block up toward the sky, see if you can roll the block as if it would go down toward the ground. So our glutes are active, but we're not locking. Okay? So there's still a little counter of an internal rotation of the femur bones, just slight. Open up across your chest, hug the shoulder blades toward the spine, keep your neck neutral. Press your arms down into the ground. Slow-mo, slow-mo. Release the pelvis down to the ground. Take the block away. Now, I think most of you have done this with me. This is just a little maneuverability of the pelvis as we go. So we're gonna kind of not keep our pelvis neutral in this variation. We're gonna start by lifting our right hip first, and then following the left hip and lowering the right hip down, and then follow with the left. So you're doing a little figure eight in the pelvis. And notice the legs. How are your leg muscles supporting this action of the pelvis? As you lift your right foot or your right hip, can you press a little more in that right foot? And same when your left hip follows, press a little bit more with your left. And just notice all the dynamic shifting of your strength. Breathing deeply. Rest down. We're going to go the other direction, but first, just some windshield wipers, left and right. Round through your hips, round through your shoulders. Take a moment to just feel the earth. And when you feel ready, we're going to lift the left hip first. Follow with the right. Left hip down. Follow with the right. So, there's a lot of dynamic shifting that happens in our stability when we alter our pelvis, left and right sides of our pelvis. So pay attention, your inner thigh muscles, your hamstrings, your glutes, your quads, your hips. So much is kind of dynamically responding moment by moment. Move slow enough so you can really feel what's happening. And then when you're ready, rest your body down again. Let's windshield wiper our knees. We're going to come up in a supported bridge, but before we do that, let's have a moment of a Supta Baddha Konasana. So soles of the feet together. Let your knees open up to the sides. Now, you can always take a block underneath each leg if you need it, or just let your knees soften toward the ground with no support. Whatever feels better for you. Pay attention to your breath, a steady, slow breath. Put your feet back to neutral. Grab a block. You might want 2 blocks. See what your height is today. You can have the block under your pelvis at the low height. And remember, we're taking the block across our pelvis, not in line with our spine. You can have the block 1 notch higher into the middle height, or stack 2 blocks, one on top of the other. So your choice of heights. Feel a sense of openness in your chest and shoulders. And even though the work is no longer here in your legs, see if you can just have a weighting, like your feet have weights in them, dropping a little deeper with gravity. Now, while you're here, find the very patient breath. See if you can come into some slow and steady inhales and exhales. What can open up and expand on the in-breath? What can release on the exhales? Our feet up now. So knees toward your chest. Give a little hug so that you're tractioning the lumbar spine after all that back bending work of strengthening the back line of your body. Let that traction open things up. And then when you're ready, lift your legs straight up in the air. A full breath here. Feel the full inhale. Feel the full exhale. Let's lower the feet down. Get the block out of there, so lifting our hips up, and grab your strap. If you don't have a strap, it's okay, you can hold your legs. But we're gonna take first just your right leg straight up in the air, and you can keep your left foot on the ground if you'd like, or you can straighten it, your whole leg on the ground, your choice. Long spine. Breathing deeply. And if you feel like you want to open your leg out to the side and do the full sequence of all 3 directions, leg up, leg out, and leg crossed, you can take your time to do that. Alternately, if you'd like to just be here, what you can eventually do is do the other leg for a little while and then hold 2 legs in the strap. All right, so take one of those pathways, either opening your leg out to the side for a few breaths and then crossing, and then switching legs, or just switching legs, having a little moment with your left leg in, and then 2 legs in the strap. Melt your skull. This is the beginning of, the deep rest. So find that full back line, opening up. breathing well. So whatever pathways you're choosing, try to breathe patiently and revel in the sensation that you're feeling. So there's no rush to get anywhere. You have plenty of time. As you complete, now I'm not saying it needs to be done, but as you complete, whatever that is, take a moment to just ask your body what else is needed before Shavasana. Maybe nothing's needed. Maybe you feel really complete. Maybe you need a little hip stretch or a little happy baby to kind of open up that back again. So just see what it is that your body's asking for, taking your time, and eventually finding your way to Shavasana. Such a personal experience, obviously, being in your yoga practice. But I think it's important to diverge from the path sometimes in making sure that the subtleties of what your body needs are being met. To me, this is the greatest gift of a home practice is that, yes, I can guide you, but you're always free to go off the beaten path and you don't have to feel weird about it. Like maybe in class, if you were with a bunch of people and you decided to do something different, it might feel awkward to you, but this is your practice in your home. So there's this beautiful capacity to both have someone guide you toward presence. Here we are holding each other accountable for our practice, but really it's such a personal experience. So as you come to Shavasana, whenever that is, see what it feels like to have the deep rest take over you. Notice your body and what can be done to relax. Are your eyes resting? Are your limbs in a nice, relaxed and neutral position for you? Feel your breath expand. Maybe your toes start wiggling or your hands start moving. Again, being very patient and slow with yourself. Reaching your arms overhead if that feels good, to just kind of re-invite some energy to course through you. Eventually finding your way to your side. Very slowly make the transition. Probably one of the greatest places for us to practice the art of patience is in our transitions. Okay. And as you come to a comfortable seat, taking your time to get there, notice if you are a little slower moving in your mind and in your body. This is a good thing. So is patience just a little bit more available to feel calmer? And bring your hands together at your heart. And let's offer this nice slow pace of our breath, our energy, our mind outward to another. And as we move through our day today, remember your yoga homework is to, when you feel the urge to rush, to consciously be patient, slow yourself down, whatever the task is, whatever the hurry is. See if you can just be mindfully a teeny bit slower. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.